last week and a half or so, we took every single division and we said QB or not QB, the biggest pressing question that each starting quarterback for that team has. We started with the NFC East, and again, you can go back on our podcast, wherever you find podcasts. We went through 8 straight days, the 4 divisions in each conference. On day 2, we honed in on the AFC East, and we asked Key and Jay, essentially, Cam Newton, QB or not QB. Cam making some news on perhaps his QB future. He was on the I Am Athlete podcast with Brandon Marshall, Fred Taylor, and Chad Johnson, of course, 3 former players. And Cam opined on playing for Bill Belichick.
I think Bill Belichick is the most misunderstood person in all of sports.
100%, 1,000%.
He dope.
Yeah.
He is a cool dude. He understands the game. He's like an historian of the game. And for you to just sit down and chat with him, like, it's like, damn, like he's going back and he's got film, like literally teaching the game. Like,
what's his right-hand man name?
Ernie. Man, he's a genius.
Indeed. Bill's father taught him the game, and Bill passing it on to generations of players. So we're asking you this morning, with Cam sort of flipping the script on Bill and what we know about him. We've often heard privately, Key, you know him well, privately, that he's got a great sense of humor, and he doesn't really come across as the guy that's out there every Wednesday with the 2-word answers. That's just for the media. He's a totally different guy behind the scenes. Guys like Key would know that. So we're asking you, since publicly we just get a completely different version of Belichick for fans and media, who's the most misunderstood person in sports? You could obviously answer Belichick, and Cam made a great call for that. Again, 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776, across the sports spectrum, not just the NFL. Who's the most misunderstood person in sports? Here are some answers that we've gotten on the Twitter feed. We'd love to hear from you on the phone line. Then we'll hear from Cam here in just 1 second about his immediate future. At Lavery Adam 84, this one's a little, I think there's a little sarcasm here. James Dolan with the LOL.
Even James Dolan misunderstands James Dolan.
Indeed. At Bonk, New York, Kyrie, Will, Dennis Rodman, Rico B5, Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch, Silky Calloway 72, Nick Saban, Keyshawn Johnson. Says Keyshawn Johnson. Would you like to explain?
Keyshawn Johnson put his own name
right here on the
list.
Oh, God. It was all for fun, man.
I think that tweet says it all. He's not misunderstood. He's the guy you think he is.
Yeah, right? I know. That's
Keyshawn Johnson is Keyshawn Johnson, baby.
I've always...
In the third person.
I've always loved the narratives, not only about myself, but about other players, coaches. Because it's funny when people don't get to know who you are or know you. They only see from a distance, so they form an opinion based on what others might say. Even when you look at it, it's like, you talk about a person's personality or their mood or the way they approach the game, and you set their narrative and it lives forever because everybody continues to run with it without getting an opportunity to even know who you are. Just because you say something like, oh, this guy's this. It's like, you've never seen me play. You've never had a chance to interview me or let alone be in a room with me. So how the hell do you know what I'm about? And so when you talk about guys like Bill Belichick, it's the same thing. Everybody assumes Bill is a certain way because you see a clip on SportsCenter and an anchor cracking a joke about his press conference. And so the first thing people say is, Bill Belichick's that way. It's like, no, you have no idea. You have no idea. And I'm glad Cam has said what he said about Bill Belichick. But there's a number of players that are out there. And a lot of times, and Jay can speak to this, a lot of times, players play to it too. They play it up because we know how stupid people can be. So we use that to our advantage. If that's the way that you think I am, then I'm going to play it up and let you form that opinion. I once said a long time ago, Jay, when he's this, he's this and that, and I don't understand it. I've been working since 1996, professional, whether it's in football or in television broadcasting. I couldn't be that bad of a guy.
Well, look, I know one situation in particular, Key. It was really funny just knowing Kyrie, the earth is flat. He was like, just watch. Just watch when I say the earth is flat. How many people will write stories about it and it will become a really big thing and everybody will be talking about it. So, a lot of players play into it. Because at the end of the day, right, everybody's making these assumptions about who you are
Yes.
or about what you think. So you know what? Why not? All right, I'm gonna mess with everybody since you guys already know. I'm gonna double down, triple down on it. But Key, I agree with you, and I think it's only gotten worse right now because now we're in the midst of, we're coming out of it, thankfully. But through this pandemic, if we were already thinking that way before, now when you don't have access to people because people are way more isolated than they've been before, these narratives just run away. And let's be real, Key. A lot of times people, through social media paradigms or TV, say things for clicks, for likes. So when you're supposed to come to an instant analysis about somebody and you just say it without having context, that's how people get rewarded these days, with likes or things going viral, instead of it being actually trying to find some deep meaning in who these people are or context to how they live their lives.
Zubin, explain to me and to the listeners, what is the definition of misunderstood when it comes to professional athletes and coaches?
Yeah, I think that's really the most interesting thing, because I think what happens is, I'm going to say this as the one guy in the set that obviously didn't play professionally, so I see this the way. I know sometimes my 5'11", 157 can fool you, but it's just high school weight, by the way. How many fellas out there listening are at their high school weight? Okay, no, here's the thing. What happens is, and this happens in the media, when you are on in Los Angeles before you joined us here, you're on for hours a day and people listen to you every single day. And they think they know you because you're a part of their day, right? They're putting their kids at the bus stop, they are making lunch for their kids, and they're listening to Key in the car, right? You see your family for 15 minutes every day on the way out the door, and I'm listening to Key for 45 minutes on the way to work. You become a part of their regimen. So if I'm spending more time with Key in the car than I'm spending with my kids in the morning, I feel like I know my kids. I'm spending more time with Key and the gang. I actually feel like I know you. If you're a hardcore fan and you say you're the biggest fan of this team, nobody's a bigger fan than I am, then you naturally start to think to yourself, nobody knows more about this team than I do. I devour everything they put out on Twitter. I watch all the team videos. I watch ESPN. So you start to lull yourself into thinking that you know so much more than you do just because of the time spent. That is misunderstood. You could spend 20 hours a week with the team and not know anything about the team, right? So there's an aspect of that you have to think about. It's misunderstood because you think you're spending so much time figuring out what's going on, but you may not really know anything.
Yeah. No, I just, it's fascinating to me because there's guys on that list that we mentioned, like a Marshawn Lynch, misunderstood. I'm like, Marshawn is who Marshawn is. That's not, what do you mean misunderstood? That's
Get
who
your
he
chickens.
is.
Get your chickens.
Here's one example of right now. If you had to say it right now, the most misunderstood guy in sports. And if you watch the sport of golf, right now there is a white-hot controversy surrounding a guy by the name of Patrick Reed, who is accused of being a cheater. And golf, as you guys know, Jay, you play, it's the most gentlemanly game. You are going to call rules violations on yourself. You're not waiting for markers and rules officials to be there.
Can't use
right?
that hand wedge,
So
Zubin.
Richard
Can't
in
use
Toronto,
the hand wedge.
right? Watch that backswing. Don't pick up that sand on the backswing. So Richard is in Toronto. Richard, I don't want to steal your thunder. You said Patrick Reed, but I am 100% in agreement with you. There is not another guy on the tour that is seen one way and might be, in just my opinion, might be another. What do you have?
Appreciate it, guys. I agree 100%, man. There's no way you can be a professional golfer and shoot -5 on the front nine and have cheating as any sort of consideration on the back nine. It's just not going to happen for a pro golfer.
And I would also say the thing that Richard would add there, and I'll add it for him, is that every time he has these cheating accusations, he wins tournaments. He's a Masters champion. Patrick Reed has won the Masters. He's not just any old golfer.
But what did he do, though, to even start that?
I'll give you an example. This actually happened about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I'm not going to go into detail about this.
Please don't.
No, I won't, because Jay's a golfer, you're not a golfer.
I want to know.
This just happened a few weeks ago, and it was a white-hot controversy for a tournament he ended up winning. He hit a ball, and I'm going to use the golf terminology. We're not going to go too super deep. The ball was embedded, right? Essentially, did the ball move, right, when it landed? The quote-unquote embedded. Here's the problem. Right now, you don't have any fans on the tour. Mm-hmm. You don't have any volunteers or rules officials, very limited because of the coronavirus. Let's keep as few people on the course as we can.
Yeah,
the ball,
Key, real quick, sometimes when a player hits a ball, all these fans, they crowd around the shot. right? And all these officials watch the ball to make sure it doesn't move.
Right. Here it is. It's OB. It's out of bounds. Here it is. All that sort of stuff. So basically, I'll just give it to you in 1 minute. Nobody was there to see what exactly happened with the ball because the course is barren except for the TV cameramen and the players. And so in golf, if you're not exactly sure what happened, you should assume the worst. You should assume, you know what, I should give myself a penalty here because I'm not 100% sure this happened, right? And what he did was he said, no, I'm giving myself the benefit of the doubt. And you might think that's a very silly, small thing. Golfers are like, no, we have a code. You cannot assume the benefit of the doubt.
I just drink
It's
the
a-
liquor and look.
This is a huge thing in golf, and I think Patrick Reed, be honest with you, Richard in Toronto, he's number one on this list. Like I said, it's a little strange, but I just do think in certain sports, if you're coloring outside the lines, you're always going to be seen as misunderstood.
What a waste of time.